Backstage at a major music festival, an administrator spots a man in a torn t-shirt and unwashed hair wandering near the green room. Seeing his bare feet and ragged appearance, she assumes he snuck past security and forcefully escalants him out into the hallway. The man waits quietly in the hall, despite being the multi-million-selling artist scheduled to headline the event for these screaming fans in a matter of minutes. This is Rich Mullins. Mullins was the most successful Christian musician of the 1990s, with songs played in almost every church in the country. Yet, while his peers built empires, he chose to live and look like a man who possessed nothing at all. His physical rejection of wealth served a specific purpose. Rich was attempting to treat an agonizing spiritual burden he had carried since his earliest years. This photograph of an Indiana farmer captures the rigid environment of Rich's upbringing. In this community, masculinity was defined by physical labor and athletic grit. If you couldn't clear a field or sink a jump shot, you were an outsider. Rich was terrible at both. His sensitivity was met with quiet, devastating disappointment from a stern father, instilling a lifelong fear that he was unlovable at his core. He turned to his one undeniable gift, the piano. By age 5, he could play complex hymns flawlessly from memory. He weaponized this talent, using musical perfection as a strategy to finally earn his father's approval. This created an internal operating system the Bible calls the law. It's a state of being where your worth is a direct variable of your performance. If the achievement isn't perfect, the scale tips and your value disappears. He entered adulthood trapped in a transactional view of love. It was never a gift. It was a wage that had to be continuously earned through flawless achievement. Success came quickly when Amy Grant covered one of his songs, pulling Rich from obscurity and dropping him into the highest levels of the music industry. He moved to Nashville, where the industry demanded a sanitized, commercialized religious image. Producers wanted trendy clothes and polished hair. Rich responded by giving away his shoes and letting his hair grow shaggy. Behind the platinum records, he was losing a war. He was secretly battling chronic depression, severe loneliness, and a growing dependence on alcohol. That hypocrisy felt physical. He would sing to thousands about a perfect God, then spend his nights in hotel rooms struggling with the addictions he couldn't break. He felt like a total fraud. Money and fame only confirmed his greatest fear, that the Almighty looked at his messy life with the exact same cold disappointment as his earthly father. During a long drive, a friend played a cassette of a sermon by Brennan Manning, who spoke with a raspy voice about the ragamuffin gospel. Manning made a claim that challenged everything Rich believed, that there is absolutely nothing a person can do to make God love them more, and nothing they can do to make God love them less. The performance-based worldview Mullins had built over 30 years collapsed. He pulled the Jeep onto the shoulder of the highway, blinded by tears, weeping against the steering wheel. This is grace. It replaces the precarious scale of achievement with a state of unconditional completeness. If the law requires work, grace offers rest, regardless of the results. Rich finally understood that God didn't need his gold records or his musical genius. He was fully loved while still being a broken, scruffy, shoeless mess. Once his worth wasn't tied to wealth, he legally separated himself from his fortune. He hired elders to route royalties directly to charities, capping his income at an average laborer's $24,000. He purposefully stayed ignorant of the totals to avoid the lure of luxury. He traded arenas for a reservation in New Mexico, living in this dirt and log hogan. He spent his final years teaching music to children whom the rest of the world had largely forgotten. He took vows of poverty and began using his platform to confess his ongoing struggles with lust and alcohol. The polished star had been replaced by a man who admitted he was still on the verge of falling. Ridding himself of his shoes, all his money, and his professional reputation were the survival tactics of a man determined to keep his focus entirely on God's grace. In September 1997, his Jeep flipped on a rain-slicked highway. Rich was thrown from the vehicle and died at age 41. His final work, the Jesus Record, was released posthumously as a set of raw, unpolished demo tapes recorded on a booming piano in an empty church. It remains his most haunting legacy. Mullins' career functioned as a living demonstration of the letters of Paul, that power is made perfect in weakness. and truth is found when we stop hiding our failures. He dismantled the facade of the perfect Christian. He proved that faith isn't about maintaining a sanitized image, but about bringing our messy, bare feet out of the shadows and into the light of unconditional grace.